Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the ninth race of the third season of the TNR Master Millwright Big Block Series, as we are here tonight at Lanier Raceway in Georgia. I'm Seth Cole, alongside of Lucas Cram. Lucas, these guys just entering into the second half of the season. It continues to look like a three-horse race. Grant Wesley just on the outside looking in. Basically, looks like he would have to win at least 2 or 3 events here in the next couple of weeks in order to make his way into the picture. But man, I'll tell you what, Boniface, he's on a tear. He's got 5 victories in a row. Bobby Trapper, the defending champion, he's trying to go for 3 championships in a row. And right in the middle of them, you've got John Canonzaro, who's searching for his first victory. What do you think Lanier's got in store for us here tonight?
Yeah, this track is obviously a really racy racetrack, both asphalt and dirt configurations. So I think it would be an awesome race here. These big like modifieds, they're really fun cars to race, and James obviously going to try to continue that streak like you mentioned as we're underway here for heat number 1.
Jason Freeman leading us down into the first corner. It was James Boniface who started second, Ethan Fisher third, Bobby Trapper and Zane Burke brought up the rest of the field. And a big thing that we've talked about here, not only this season, but it was very important last season as well, is these heat races. Bonus points get handed out, and we've seen how John Canonzaro and James Boniface have used the bonus points to be able to keep Bobby Trapper within striking distance.
Yeah, they're honestly kind of like stage points in NASCAR and oval racing, where you get those bonus points, and the heats are kind of like stages, and so you can definitely use those to your advantage, get those bonus points. And most people like to focus on the race points, but if you can just rack up those bonus points, kind of sneak your way into points position and get yourself up towards the front, that's obviously where you want to be. As you see now, side by side for second, looks like the 69 is going to get clear there of the 72 car of Ethan Fisher, and now you can kind of see that bottom lane working. The thing is, on the asphalt configuration, that's actually the apron, excuse me. So on the dirt configuration, it's a little bit flatter than that second lane, and so you can kind of see the runs already formed up here. Using that second lane, get a bit more momentum, especially the guy on the inside is pinched down.
Bobby Trapper trying to stick his nose in there. There's maybe just barely a lane underneath the 12 of Jason Freeman, and nobody runs the inside line better than Bobby Trapper, trying to pick up another heat victory. So far this season, second highest in the points in terms of bonus points, 32 bonus points coming into this one, and only 12 points back to John Canonzaro, 13 points back to James Boniface, who, as mentioned, is on a tear right now and actually trying to challenge to the top side. You gotta wonder how much Boniface is going to force the issue here, as he's been able to get around Ethan Fisher, and only 2 car lengths off the back bumper of Trapper coming to 2 to go.
Yeah, for sure, and definitely, like you mentioned, getting those bonus points, and on a bit of a tear here, he's making those points back up from that race he missed early in the season. So, he's going to easily try to get himself towards the front here in each of these heat races and the feature, and as long as he can do that at the end and try to, not take himself out too early here. And that's the interesting thing too about this, is that the heat races, they will determine where you start, obviously, for the feature. And so not only do you want to get those bonus points as he's looking for second place up here on the outside, and first you got to kind of try that high side, but also you're going to try to start up towards the feature and finish up there as well.
So Freeman's going to pick up a heat victory here tonight. Then the overall stands coming to this one, 76 points out. Trapper's going to finish second, Boniface in third. Fisher and Burke will complete the top 5. All 5 drivers getting bonus points here tonight in their heat, and the same will be able to be said for the drivers taking part here in heat number 2. Grant Wesley is going to be the pole sitter for this one. Almost pulled off the victory in a 3-way battle for the win last week at Bristol Dirt. John Canonzaro is going to start alongside of him in second. Bobby Puckett, Tony Lucarelli, and Garrett Gleason going to be the 5 drivers taking part in this one. 10 drivers in the field here this evening. Somewhat smaller field, and so with that being said, and the racing that we just saw there in the first heat race, what do these drivers need to prepare for, do you think? Do these drivers start settling in, try to figure out what their car is able to do on the long run, maybe start searching for grip here and now in these heat races? Because there's every likelihood we could run the 35 flat main event feature completely under the green flag.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened last week at Bristol, and definitely, I'm assuming they're probably going to reset the track here after these heat races, but even if they do, they can definitely search around, like you mentioned, find that grip across the racetrack, because as we all know, a dirt race is the most dynamic type of racing there is in all of racing. So you can definitely kind of search around during this bit of the race and see what you can set yourself up for right after this in the feature, and kind of see where the grip lies and what'll change over the course of the run.
Seen Grant Wesley the last few weeks be one of those that does some experimentation in the heats as green flag flies, and you saw Cannonzaro got himself a nice jump. Shorter way around the racetrack, though, Wesley's going to get back by him for the top position. Now, again, as mentioned with Wesley's situation for him is he's got to find victory lane. He's 55 points out, mathematically still has a shot, but especially when you get to the second half of the season, Lucas, it's so difficult for a driver to get themselves back into the championship picture because not only do you have to do well, you've got to rely on the guys ahead of you to have bad luck, and it's just been some tremendous consistency out of Trapper, Cannonzaro, and Boniface in the last few weeks.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of times that can seem, almost impossible to overcome. But as you see, almost a contact right there in third, the 41 machine's going to go around.
Is Tony Lucarelli, and actually up and over. Very seldom do we have caution flags in the heats, and it looks like we will not have one here, as Bobby Puckett was the car that got into Tony Lucarelli. Lucarelli to pit lane, and now the caution is going to fly. I'm assuming that was for the 41's incident over there in turn 3. Let's go back and see what happened. Assuming contact between the 40 and the 41 in what was a battle for third place.
Yeah, it looks like he was just kind of trying to slide it in there. Maybe not really even trying to get underneath him, but at least just to carry momentum through the corner. And it looks like he just kind of miscalculated his run and where the speed of the 41 was carrying, and tried to stay off of him, and about spun himself out actually trying to stay off him, but just barely managed to nudge him and unfortunately turn the 41 around and up and over.
Obviously, that's bad news for Lucarelli in regards to this heat, as he was battling with Bobby Puckett for what would be 3 bonus points from this heat race, third position. Good news is that more than likely he will be starting up on the front row for the upcoming main event. More than likely will finish 5th in this heat, and he'll still get a bonus point finishing inside of the top 5. So the caution laps do not count in the heats or in the main events. The caution came out on lap number 4. We will go back green with 6 laps remaining still. John Cannonzaro going to be on the inside line here. And remember, he got around Wesley on the top side, so I was wondering if maybe Wesley was going to be able to hang tough with him on that outside line. Apparently that's not the case. Cannonzaro clears, and Bobby Puckett, he's going to challenge Wesley for second place.
Yeah, they both are kind of moving around there those first few laps and trying to figure out whether or not they wanted to run down there on the bottom underneath that slick stuff. That kind of darker rubber is where it usually is a lot slicker as the track kind of wears in. And then if you run higher, it's obviously a slower way around the racetrack because you're running more distance. But if it has more grip up there, you can use the cushion to your advantage and get the run off. It looks like currently both of them are pretty comfortable just running that second lane, like I mentioned before. That bottom lane being a lot flatter, the second lane can kind of be the preferred low groove, if you will. And you can kind of get your left front down there and try to get it to rotate a little bit if you need some turn off the corner if you're a little tight.
Wesley's not going away. He has closed the battle back up for the race lead, right up to that back roll cage on the race leader, Cannonzaro. And remember, for Cannonzaro, still looking for his first trip to victory lane this season. Consistency and bonus points have kept him up in this championship picture. 38 bonus points coming to this one in the 8 starts that he has made here this season. 7 of them inside the top 10, those 7 also inside of the top 5. So it's really been all about consistency for him, but you know he's chomping at the bit. He wants to find victory lane and cut even more into that points lead. Looks like he's going to have this heat victory in tow. And remember, that's 1 bonus point he's going to have over Boniface, 2 bonus points he'll have over Bobby Trapper, based off of their respective finishes in heat number 1.
Yeah, definitely a big help from him right there. That was a nice execution. Grant Wesley was really putting the pressure on him there, and interesting to see, Grant really tried that upper high side all up against the wall there, kind of the loose stuff, and obviously, unfortunately, it didn't really work out for him, and he couldn't get to him in 3, but I'm sure, like I said, as it looks like the track is actually not going to get reset, so that kind of will give him just some information, a little bit of a tidbit, into the feature here, that at the moment, at least, for the start of this feature, that won't work, and now he knows kind of where he can run to try to get around somebody and where the fast groove is.
Ready for our 35-lap main event feature. Zane Burke is going to be the pole sitter for this one alongside of Garrett Gleason. Ethan Fisher and Bobby Puck will be row 2. James Boniface will be back in row 3 with Grant Wesley. Bobby Trapper, the points leader, in 7th place inside of row 4. John Cannonzaro, who's trying to take that points lead away from him, lines up on the outside. Jason Freeman and Tony Lucarelli. That is going to be the 10 drivers taking part here in this main event feature. And I'm wondering just exactly when the search point's going to be for these guys. I'm assuming a lot of the drivers are going to still want to run that inside second groove, but you saw there on that final lap, Grant Wesley jumped up there to the top side against the wall, kind of conceded the victory to see if there is any grip up there. Wonder if he might be one of the first to jump to the top.
Yeah, of course, 35 laps here. These guys are going to continue to wear the track out, and this is the most cars on this track at once here, with all 10 of them out here. So definitely going to wear a little bit faster than it did during both those heat races, and I'm intrigued to see if that middle lane gets so wore out to the point to where they move up higher and kind of try to work that cushion. And not quite as high as Grant went last time, I don't think, at the moment at least, but I think kind of get above that slick stuff. It'd be interesting to see if they can get that worked in.
Only two of our former winners from the season in the field here tonight. Bobby Trapper with 2 victories and James Boniface with 5. Green flag in the air. Little swirly there going into turn 1 for the race leader Zane Burke, and we might be looking 3 wide, 2 rows deep there through the first couple of corners.
What a move there by Ethan Fisher. Went all the way down next to the inside wall. He did lead her off of turn number 4 and lead the first lap.
Fisher's been very strong in the races he's taken part in. A couple of top 5s, and Zane Burke getting up into somebody there. I think it was Garrett Gleason perhaps in the middle of the pack. He goes around. The caution's immediately going to fly, so 2 laps into the main event. Yellow flag's going to wave, and it's right in the middle of traffic. So very fortunate that we didn't have a couple of other cars scattered there in 1 and 2.
Yeah, what a wild start here to the feature. And like you mentioned, the 828 there, Zane Burke just kind of caught up in the middle, and they were kind of racing through all the way around the racetrack here, and unfortunately just dove in a little bit too deep. Car didn't quite cut like you probably expected it to in that rubber in the middle groove, and unfortunately got up into the 88 machine. And what a save by Grant Wesley. They got picked up onto 2 wheels and about spun around in front of a few more guys, and luckily for him, he was able to get back up and keep going straight.
Tremendous save by him. Really difficult to manage these big blocks when all 4 wheels are on the racing surface, let alone having just 2 wheels on the racing surface. So nice save by him. He's going to hold on to the 4th position as they get doubled up and wait for the iRacing pace truck to give them the 1 to green. And I mean, that's maybe something that kind of gets lost in interpretation for people watching these type of races, the fact that the field gets determined by where you finish in your respective heats. We talk all the time about how difficult it is for the top contenders to finish up at the front, to have to make their way through traffic, but little do we think about those guys that may not be all that comfortable up at the front leading the field to green, having to kind of make their way safely to the rear of the field.
Yeah, for sure. And you see Ethan Fisher, definitely making the most of that invert that put him up front there and in that position as we get 3 wide in contact back there for second. Looks like Ethan gets in the inside wall almost, and Grant, and somehow they all managed to get it back up.
They were 3 wide. I think that was the Puckett machine trying to get to the inside of Boniface for second. It stacked him up. Wesley squeezed to the inside. Now he's up to 4th. Trapper in 3rd. Boniface right now in 2nd. And now the battle's on for the runner-up spot as Trapper continuing to run the lowest way you can on this racetrack, right down against that white wall. You've got Boniface, though. He's going to go high, wide, and handsome. Give the advantage, at least for the moment, 2nd place to the 2-time champion.
Yeah, Boniface trying that cushion like I mentioned earlier. Not quite as high as Grant Wesley went at the end of that heat race, but up there right on the edge of the slick stuff. And it looks like as Bobby Trapper goes to the race lead, he's definitely proven that inside line, like he was running all during that heat race, is the fast line around here. He didn't take the race lead.
No, it was interesting because I asked the question last week. Bobby Trapper coming into this race, the defending champion from the past 2 seasons. He's got 2 drivers who have been either consistent or have been on fire in terms of race wins that are breathing down his neck. How much pressure was going to be on him here tonight to try and put that machine back in victory lane and keep those dogs at bay? I think we're getting a pretty good idea because he wasted no time getting up to the front. Now he's going to try and pull away. For
sure, yeah. I mean, obviously Boniface, like you mentioned, on that 4 or 5 wins in a row. Bobby Trapper hasn't won since the 2nd race of the season. You're looking at the results, so definitely very eager to get back to victory lane and try to at least stop the bleeding, if you will, of the points situation with Boniface really just kind of climbing up through the ranks and getting back to him only 13 points back. That could fall very easily. So definitely making sure he lets them all know that he's still super competitive out here and can try to get a victory here. So I got 10 laps down.
James Boniface tried the top side. It did not bode well for him. He has now dropped back to the 5th position. Wesley making the pass for 4th just a couple of laps ago. So Boniface back down to the inside line, and that might start to discourage some of these guys of going up there trying to put some grip in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th grooves here, especially with the fact that They might lose even more ground to Bobby Trapper, who has opened up over a second now back to Ethan Fisher. He's got about a car length back to John Cannizzaro. And, obviously in the course of the 2 seasons, there's very few tracks that Bobby Trapper has not gone to victory lane at. This is one of them, though, as Lanier made its debut on the schedule last season. Kenneth Drake was the winner, leading every lap of that event. Trapper did not lead a single lap, started the race from third and finished in the third position.
I was about to mention right there how the fast line was right up against as close as you possibly could get to the inside wall, and right before I mentioned that, Grant Wesley, actually, he knocked the inside wall down the left front and about got spun around there by Boniface, who had nowhere to go right behind him, and they both have now lost 2 positions, both of the 20, Jason Freeman and Tony Lucarelli, so definitely costly for them, and we're going to have a lot of work here left to do in this race.
Jason Freeman, the winner of our first heat, as Wesley now going to be, I think, the only driver that's going up there against the outside wall, and give him a little bit of experience of knowing what's up there. When other drivers decide to make grade up there, he'll already have kind of gone to school, so to speak, in knowing when to be able to get back to the throttle, what line to be able to run. And as soon as I say that, he then migrates back down to the inside line there again as well, which kind of makes me wonder if anybody's got the speed to get up here to Bobby Trapper. He doesn't look like he has any thoughts about coming off that inside line. That top side might not be a viable option for these guys because the laps are winding down quickly.
Yeah, I'm looking at John Cannizzaro here, and he actually just now went to the bottom there, 1 and 2, because he realized that he was bleeding some time there as well. They're running about half a second slower up there, which is a huge difference, obviously, around here. And that's really interesting that top side does not work whatsoever. And with only about 15 laps to go here in a couple of laps, I don't know if it will come in at all, really. So definitely a matter of who can run that inside line the best and kind of get it to cut up off the corner and not scrub too much speed off. And obviously the 69 machine up there just absolutely pulling away from the field. Bobby Trapper is putting on a clinic at the moment.
I wonder if maybe that top line isn't working quite as well as we've seen at other tracks in the past, based off of the fact that quite wide in these corners, so it's a very long ways around the racetrack if you take up against the outside wall, and it's a very short straight as well. I mean, if you watch these guys, no sooner do they come off of turn number 4, they've got the wheels turned to the left to prepare for turn number 1.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my experience of any kind of dirt racing is Bobby Trapper was really hard there into turn 1, and actually, I'm not sure if he did it intentionally or not, but he went all the way up to the cushion there on the outside wall. It looks like he lost a little bit of time doing so. He's trying like a diamond line where he drives it in really shallow and then pushes way up high and kind of turns it down back off the wall a little bit. It's a really interesting line, and looks like it wasn't quite fast for that lap, but definitely, he's even experimenting as a leader, and that's the thing with dirt racing is you can never get content. You always have to make sure you're looking at what other guys around you are doing to try to find some speed, and obviously if you're the leader, it's a lot more difficult to do that without being able to follow somebody directly in front of you, like the 72 machine Ethan Fisher is kind of doing back here in that second position. But it's all about just trying to migrating to wherever the fast line is, and obviously currently it looks like it's still down there on the bottom of the racetrack, but you have to still experiment around and make sure that you're always covering the rest of the field.
Lucarelli, nice rebound for him, starting deep in the field, 10th place here tonight for the main event, up to the 4th position, and actually running lap times better than a couple of the guys up ahead of him. He's starting to reel in John Cannizzaro for P3 with 10 laps to go.
Yeah, absolutely, and nobody kind of down there on the bottom. It's going to be really tough to pass it once you do get there. So I'm intrigued to see how that works out. If he can get to him as he's driving really hard there in the corners, as you can see, just absolutely trying to drive all the way up to him with about 10 laps to go here. It's going to be pretty difficult to catch him, but if you can get some help here, especially with lap traffic, as the lap on the 828 machine up here running the high side, if you just use them as a pick or something to kind of get that edge on him and hopefully try to get around him here with a few laps to go.
7 to go this time by for Bobby Trapper as he made his way around the now lap machine of Zane Burke. He's the last car running right now as Garrett Gleason brought his 777 to pit lane about 13 laps ago. He will be finishing 10th place here tonight. Ethan Fisher right now a second and a half, little less than that, behind Bobby Trapper, trying to reel him in, but he's running out of time, running out of laps. And John Cannizzaro, I mean, think about how important it was the fact that Cannizzaro picked up that heat victory, because the 2 positions, 2 points that he's going to lose out to Bobby Trapper here, maybe more if Tony Lucarelli gets around him, is going to keep him still in that, 12 to 13 point range when we get to Kokomo next week.
Yeah, for sure. And John, as I mentioned earlier, needed, Tony Lucarelli needed some help to get to John. John tried to run the high side up there behind the lap car and was trying to find some speed, and it still is not coming yet. So he lost a lot of time, and now Tony Lucarelli is right to him. Actually gave him the bumper last time there into turn 1. So it's going to be really close here for the third place finish. Just 3 laps to go this time by.
It could be as many as 4 drivers battling for that final spot inside the podium. Cannizzaro, Lucarelli nose to tail. Jason Freeman about 3 car lengths back, and he's got James Boniface along with him as well. 2 laps to go here at Lanier as they try to make their way also around the slow machine. Oh, there's the bump, and the three's going to go around. That's going to bring out the caution. Leader did not take the white. I do not believe. No, he's just now coming off turn 4. So we are actually going to go into an overtime restart.
Man, that was just really unfortunate. I'm not sure. It looked like he was just trying to kind of follow him through the corner and accidentally got into him just a little bit harder than he probably wanted to. And as soon as that car, the 3 machine got turned around into the inside wall, it was pretty much all over for those guys. And Grant Wesley also right behind those guys, nowhere to go. And as he came back up across the racetrack, he unfortunately T-boned him. So a lot of cars are involved.
Freeman getting a piece of it there as well with the 12 machine, and oh man, there's the shot for Grant Wesley. These drivers do have faster pairs at their disposal. That was implemented at the midway portion of the season. They went the first half of the season with no faster pair mulligans available to them, so we'll see if anybody's going to come down pit road, especially some of those guys that would have lost track position from that wreck. Now it looks like anybody's coming down pit lane, as it's going to be an overtime green-white checkered here. And incredibly enough, this is the 2nd straight season that we are going to have an overtime green-white checkered here at Lanier. We did this last season as well. We were scheduled to run 35 laps in total. We ran 36. Green flag back in the air for Bobby Trapper, who gets a tremendous restart. Battle's going to be from about 2nd place on back.
Yeah, awesome restart there for Bobby Trapper. Definitely not going to let anybody deny him of this victory as to come back around and tip the white flag. And currently you see the battle for 4th position here with Grant Wesley now to the inside. Even with that damage to the battling James Boniface right there. As the car behind them, and both get turned around, but still battling on here for 4th.
Contact there as Wesley's able to hang on to it. Up on the top side goes Bobby Trapper, and he's going to get the run back to the start-finish line. Ethan Fisher gave it a yeoman's try, but just could not get the power down off the final corner. And who would have believed that it's been all the way back since mid-August that Bobby Trapper's last been to victory lane, winning the first 2 races on the season. He finally goes back to victory lane here tonight, 3rd time this season, and this is exactly what he needed, especially with the fact we saw Cannizzaro have some late issues, for him to have a little bit of a cushion heading into next week.
Yeah, both Cannizzaro and Boniface didn't even finish inside the top 3 in the podium, so definitely a huge points help for him. Like I mentioned earlier, just trying to regain some of that lost ground, and yeah, definitely a huge momentum for him as well going into the 2nd half of the season. Not winning since race 2, and he's able to carry this with him at least for the first few races after this, and definitely keep the momentum up.
A bit of late race drama there, shaking things up points-wise. It was looking like Boniface and Cannizzaro, one of them could easily be leaving here tonight as the points leader, and Trapper's going to be able to keep them in his rearview mirror with the victory. Ethan Fisher, great run for him, led a few laps early on in this main event, brings it home inside the podium in 2nd. Jason Freeman had a fast car tonight, winning the first heat race and finishing 3rd. Boniface will finish in 4th, so he'll lose a couple of points to Trapper. Wesley brings it home in 5th. Bobby Puckett, Tony Lucarelli, John Cannizzaro, Zane Burke, and Garrett Gleason going to be the remainder of the top 10. And while you would look and think a top 10 8th place isn't bad for John Cannizzaro, when you consider the fact that he's trying to reel in Trapper and Boniface to keep himself in the championship picture, this is going to be one that he's going to be looking next week to Kokomo to maybe kind of stop the bleeding and get the points back that he lost here tonight.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely really unfortunate for him there, running in that 3rd position all up to the end, and unfortunately just got turned around, nothing of his own doing, and it's going to be a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to kind of rebound those points back.
Be difficult too when you kind of consider Lucarelli making that contact. I mean, you want to go up there and get the best possible finish. Also, you know that there's drivers that are battling for the championship down the home stretch, but you kind of can't let that get in the back of your mind. You got to go out there and treat it as if there's no points on the line and you are all battling for that same checkered flag. But that's going to be a tough pill to swallow for Cannizzaro. We'll see if he can mount a comeback next week. But let's talk with some of our podium finishers here tonight. Let's kick things off with third place finisher Jason Freeman. Jason, Lucas, and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Man, that car looked really fast here tonight. We saw it. It had a lot of speed in the heat race, picked up a number of spots in the main event as well, up 6, finished third from your 9th place starting spot. One thing that we observed here this evening, it just didn't look like there was an outside line viable at Lanier. I mean, what were you guys feeling in the car that not many people migrated up any further than really that second line?
No, normally I feel like a top and a bottom come in here, but I don't know, just the amount of cars tonight, I guess. Top really never came in. I mean, the bottom looked pretty slick, but there's still some grip strips down there, so couldn't really get off the bottom. Tried moving up about the middle there, but I saw Boniface was running me back down, so I had to get back down to the bottom, and almost like a Martinsville, I guess. You gotta just gotta protect that bottom.
Ended up seeing some contact with drivers moving each other out of the way for position. As mentioned, you were able to make forward progress through the field. How were you able to do that based on the fact just about everybody was migrated to the bottom? Was it just wait till somebody makes a mistake? Were there areas of the track where you could put your car that they couldn't?
Yeah, I mean that first start I gained about 2 or 3 spots, and then on the restart, I restarted on the outside, and I kind of got freight train there, lost about 2 or 3, and then got lucky. Some of those guys got together, and I just kind of rode, and they got together. I was able to slide by them and grab a third place here.
The numbers at Lanier are very stellar, Jason. A second place run last season, third place here tonight. And of course, that heat victory is mentioned as well. So, congratulations on a great performance here tonight, a good finish. And now we'll give you the opportunity for some thank you sponsors and shout outs.
Yeah, thank you. It'd be nice to start up front, close to the front one of these. The way the invert works, I've been qualifying mid pack seems like, but I end up starting up front in that first heat race and I win it, and then I last 2 weeks I started in the last row of the feature. So there's a lot of fast guys in front of you, but it is what it is. Like to thank Garrett Gleason, TNR for putting this league on. Brian Rubel helping out. Uh, Check out Mason Dixon Racing Esports on Facebook, and Mason Dixon Cornhole, and you guys up in the booth for putting on the show.
Jason Freeman, third place here tonight under the lights at Lanier Speedway. Congrats once again on the good performance. Best of luck next week when we head to Georgia, or head to rather to Kokomo Speedway. And let's see if we can get our second place finisher, Ethan Fisher. Hey, Ethan, it's Lucas and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us? We'll give it another try here. Ethan, guys up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. You've had some very good finishes the last couple of times we've seen you. Back-to-back second place finishes now here. Last time we saw you back in mid-September at Cedar Lake. Saw you up in front early on in this main event. 69 got around you, but we saw the interval starting to slowly creep back to his back bumper, and then you had that late race restart. Anything you could have done different to be able to snag this checkered flag?
I made a bad choice early in the race. I thought maybe the second lane would have a little more grip than it did, but there was nothing out there for the whole race. I mean, I tried it one corner and he closed right up on me, so that's all I could have done different, really.
It's interesting too because Lucas made the point of the fact that the track didn't get reset in terms of grip and whatnot between the heat races and the main event. So one would think that there'd be more grip up there on that top side. Did it surprise you that there really was not any extra speed to be had up there against that outside wall? Because a lot of the other tracks we go to, especially second half of the race, that's where everybody migrates.
Yeah, I guess it's just the product of only 10 cars tonight, because normally when I run here, it does come in toward the end of the race.
A Obviously, we kind of highlight the drivers that are battling for the championship, but you've had a very stellar year here with the limited number of starts, ninth in the point standings. You've got drivers up ahead of you like Rosinski, Rubel, Bobby Puckett. Easily, we could see you up inside the top 6 or 7 in the final points. So, I mean, back-to-back runner-up finishes the last 2 times you've been out on track. What kind of confidence does that give you in these final races of the season?
Yeah, I hope it can continue. I mean, I just do this for fun. I'm not in it for the points. Real racing kind of takes me away sometimes, but yeah, it's been fun running with these guys.
Ethan, congratulations on another stellar outing here tonight. Second place at Lanier. And now we're going to give you the opportunity to thank some sponsors and do some shout outs.
A shout out to my dad and my girlfriend Tabitha, and also to the Drop Shot Call of Duty podcast.
That's Ethan Fisher. He's your runner up finisher here tonight at the Lanier Speedway. Once again, congratulations on a tremendous performance there, Ethan. Best of luck in the races that we see you in here for the remainder of the schedule.
All right, thanks.
All right, let's go down to victory lane. Third time this season, Bobby Trapper gets to wave the checkered flag. Bobby, it's Lucas and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you guys.
I mean, we were bouncing the question back and forth after last week's race and into tonight's race as well. We're going to go right to the source here. We've seen the consistency out of Canonzaro. We've seen the momentum on the side of Boniface with 4 victories in a row. Just how much pressure did you have coming in tonight? How much motivation to put this car back in victory lane and kind of stop these guys from reeling you in for that points lead?
Man, I definitely wanted to get a win. That's for sure. Like I said, it's been quite a few weeks since I've been there. I've been close a couple times, but no other pressure other than just trying to keep the car clean and not get in a wreck and let the cars fall when they may. Sort of like at Bristol last week. If I'm not the fastest car, it's just got to settle for second sometimes, and that's hopefully going to pay off in the end.
Now, I said this during tonight's event. Nobody seems to be able to hook that bottom any lower on the racetrack than you. And we saw there really was no outside line here tonight. So, with the conditions of the track here this evening, did that just play into your hands and your racing style?
I mean, I think it did sort of help a little bit. I'm definitely not one to keep momentum up on a dry track as well. So the fact that we were tight on the bottom with slowing the car down a little more, I think it gave me a little bit of an advantage to just keep it in the right groove. But yeah, it's definitely not what I expected. I expected the groove to move up, and sort of glad it didn't.
So tonight, a victory at Lanier, a track that you haven't won at here in the past in the Master Millwright Big Block Series. Next week, we end up heading to Kokomo, a track where you have gone to victory lane. So with that being said, I mean, what's the strategy going into that one? Is there some notes that you're able to take from last year's race that you can apply to next week and continue to try and extend that points lead?
Honestly, I think Kokomo was probably one of my worst tracks, and I think if I remember correctly, that was complete luck. I got the win there last year. I think hopefully I just get some luck on my side again there and let the cards fall where they may.
All right, well, Bobby, best of luck to you next week. Congratulations on the victory here tonight. What was 12 points between you and second place now opens up to 23 points, and this victory obviously couldn't have come at a better time down the home stretch to try and preserve your chance at being a 3-time champion here in the TNR Master Millwright Big Block Series. So congratulations on that. Now we're going to turn the mic over to you for some Victory Lane thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
Yeah, just got to thank TNR and Master Millwright for running the series. You guys FRN for broadcasting the event, and everyone that runs it, between Garrett and Rubel and Freeman, everyone else puts it on. It's fun every week. A lot of fun racing with all these guys.
It's Bobby Trapper. He picks up the victory here tonight, his third on the season at the Lanier Speedway. Congratulations once again, Bobby. Best of luck next week at Kokomo.
Thanks, guys.
And that's going to conclude our coverage here tonight from the Lanier Speedway. Only a handful of races left to go here, Lucas. And as mentioned, 23 points now separate Bobby Trapper from his closest competitor, which is now James Boniface, moving up to second. 28 points back is John Canonzaro. Now, we know that Boniface was able to cut down the points lead with his 4 trips to victory lane. We know that Canonzaro was able to rely on the bonus points to keep himself in the picture. But when you look now at the fact that both of those drivers are 20-plus points back, and we've only got, I believe, 3 races left on the season, these two drivers go into Kokomo in a little bit of panic mode because time's running out for them to not only get up to Bobby Trapper in the point standings, but also pass him.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not entirely sure. I would say, panic mode, but definitely aggressive. They definitely have to be the aggressors in the next few races and make sure they can kind of reel those points back in. And like you mentioned from the start of the races, bonus points are very important and not quite looked after as much for a lot of these guys. And so I think you just continue to lock up those bonus points in each and every single heat race and kind of put themselves in a good finish for each of the features. I think it definitely is obviously a physical chance to have a rebound with 50 points going out to Lanier each week. So it'd be very intriguing to see, how they play that and how aggressive they'll be in the next few races, and maybe if they are, in that kind of a panic mode, maybe not quite confident enough to, to be able to just kind of go out there and win each race, the features. And obviously, like you mentioned, James Boniface, he's gone out here and won 4 straight, and now Bobby Trapper is able to kind of deny him of that 5th consecutive win. So both of them, have won all season long, and it's gonna be tough for John to kind of be the odd man out who has not gotten a victory lane yet. So it's gonna be, hopefully, obviously, he can try to get the victory lane sometime soon and kind of get the monkey off his back and reel his points back in.
It's really going to be interesting next week as well. Bobby Trapper mentioned the fact that he felt he kind of lucked into the victory last year at Kokomo. He led 4 of the 35 laps in that one. So we'll see if lightning strikes twice for him. For those other two, obviously, they're going to have to more than likely at least finish up inside the podium and hope Trapper meets some hard luck in next week's event. And I'm almost kind of getting a little sense of deja vu as well. Bobby Trapper, I know he's going to continue to try and find victory lane, but I remember last season when Kenneth Drake was trying to make a last-ditch charge at that championship, the thing that kind of held him back was the fact that Bobby Trapper was able to go out there and pick up a number of heat victories. So keep an eye on that 69 when the green flag drops in the preliminary races, even before we get to the main event. Going to be interesting to see if Boniface and Zaro can get back into this championship picture next week. Bobby Trapper will look to continue his good mojo when we head to the Kokomo Speedway. It's our double feature here tonight for TNR, though, folks. We've finished up the TNR Master Millwright Big Block Series, but in just a little while, we're going to be bringing you coverage of the TNR DRP Stadium Super Truck Series as they're going to be heading to Crandon, as they've only got a handful of races left in their season as well. We're going to be bringing you that coverage at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so be sure to join us for that one. Lucas, good one here tonight, though, at Lanier. Join me in the booth.
Absolutely, I appreciate it. Always a pleasure.
Thanks to everybody that tuned in tonight as well. We'll see you guys in about 45 minutes here back on the Flatout Racing Network for the DRP Stadium Super Trucks. Until then, for Lucas Cram, I'm Seth Cole. See you guys very shortly as you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.